The other day I saw someone say how I think they do like STEM tutoring on YouTube. She's kind of a good-looking girl, busty. And
That's all you need.
But she was saying that she also posts her same tutorials on Pornhub, and she says she makes about $1,000 in ad revenue on Pornhub.
Oh, you
and
did?
only a couple hundred on YouTube. I was like, maybe it's time for the fucking Hype Attack After Dark, and we just start doing.
I'm growing my own, so let's have at it.
Hey guys, welcome to the Hype Attack Podcast,
where we weigh in on the latest in nerd and pop culture hype.
We are there.
We're the excited conversation we all have with our friends
about the nerdy things we love
and geek about.
We are
the Hype Attack. I am the hype.
Rudy's in my mind. Stop swallowing.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Hype Attack Podcast. I'm Isaac, and I'm joined once again by Doug, Jermaine, and Rudy. And if you're not familiar, we're the show that covers, weighs in on the latest in nerd and pop culture hype. Almost fucked it up there for a second, but I didn't. Hi everybody, how's everybody feeling?
What up?
Feels like a Thursday. But just real quick, in case you guys don't know, you can check us out on YouTube, full video episodes, youtube.com/The Hype Attack Podcast. While you're at it, follow us on social media at The Hype Attack on Instagram and TikTok. Hit all the things and stuff like that. But we're talking about something that was kind of looming in front of us for the past 2 seasons and some change. And more specifically with the last episode that we did, where we almost were going to break into discussing this, but I was like, no. Let's put the brakes on it. Let's extrapolate in a full episode. And that's reviews, the evolution or de-evolution of reviews, the history of reviews. We will go down all the historical facts and every single reviewer.
Not at all. Pure opinion.
From Cisco and Ebert to the cavemen back in the day that crudely wrote the reviews in a thumbs up or a thumbs down. But anyways, I don't know how you guys
murder.
That's, but now we just murder emotionally.
Yeah.
But how do you guys want to dissect this thing? Where do you want to start?
Well, I mean, I think it's important to, like, us being in our 40s and 30s, we lived through that, like, evolution of media, of, like, watching things on cable, renting VHSs, renting DVDs, and then Blu-rays, going to the movie theaters, to now where we can stream everything on 20 different streaming platforms on demand. And I think that's just, I just want to set where we're coming from. So there might be a lot of, like, old man nostalgia talk in this episode. Just fair warning. There might be a little bit of back in my day.
I still remember
a lot
some
of
of those
blockbusters.
days.
Yeah.
A lot of Redbox shit.
Yeah. So, but that certainly, thinking about it now this last week, like, that really has changed the way I review, or especially how I suggest movies to people, because it's a different world now. It's a lot easier to suggest something to people because they can just click a button and start watching it. But they're also in competition with every other great show that's out there.
So many great shows.
Yeah.
To kind of kick it off, like, the reason why I felt like I wanted to intro the show was, in case you guys aren't familiar, shameless plug, I do a video review on Instagram at YHSTpod. You bleep me. Yeah, that's fair. Anyways, I do movie reviews. No, that's totally fair. You know what? Fuck
I
my
was
feelings.
just kidding.
That is totally fair. That was perfect.
YHST pod.
I want to clip and everything. I want to collage, hurt my feelings, whatever I have left. Killer Vampire Ballerina. Let's go. I don't even have an opener for this one. Oh. A24's most expensive film, and it shows. Ever wonder what Alien and Arachnophobia Love Child would look like? No, wait, hold on. Ever wonder what Alien and Arachnophobia Love Child would be? Okay. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back again to yet another episode of You Haven't Seen That Podcast. I'm Isaac.
I'm Alva.
She forgets herself sometimes. I'm doing that over. That was bad. Come on, dude. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Forehead Films. I recently checked out Sting, the new feature creature from blah, 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 blah. But, like, a lot of our arguments, especially the last episode, were, like, regarding Trap and, like, the level of hate or not hate that we had for it. So, I think your wife, Rachel, even brought it up on you guys did an episode with me where we had a whole discussion about it, but I was like, it's just not the time and place to talk about it, So, like, there's as I go into reviewing movies, I'm watching it. I used to watch it as a casual, but I wouldn't say I watch it as like a critic where I'm like, impress me. Like I still enjoy movies. The second that I'm like, I want you to entertain me, I'm done. I'm done with it. Like I don't want it to ever turn into that. You know what I mean? But I still have fun with it. I still have a lot of fun with it because the way where I'm coming from as far as like, you know, telling people whether to see something or not to see something is in the realm of, because there are so many fucking things out there to watch. I watched a handful of them for you, and I'm maybe giving you telling you to watch something that was going to be overlooked because it wasn't a big tentpole movie or whatever, and it was a little gem that I don't want you to miss because it was amazing, or this thing that has a nice shiny name on it. Don't waste your time on it, kind of thing. That's just the gist of where I'm coming from, because it sometimes gets misconstrued. So, yeah.
Let me take it back a little foundational. Like when we were growing up, how aware were you of reviews in the first place?
Cisco and Ebert
versus but versus like, did you guys really pay attention to that, or was it
Those
just
two
like
old man Muppets?
You would see a movie in theater and see a trailer and be like, oh, that looks interesting, and you would just go see it when it came out?
When I was really young, yes. Well, if my parents would take me to go watch it. When I was old enough to start like going myself, I think I would look at the Orange County Register, our local newspaper here in Orange County. They had movie reviews, and I think I would kind of glance at those. I mean, I don't know if it would ever really change my motivation to go see something, unless, you know, I guess if it was like a 1 star, I might be like, maybe save my allowance money.
Yeah, definitely. I don't really think in my younger days that I really ever paid attention to reviews like that. Man, it probably wasn't until maybe my late 20s was kind of like when I started to actually like pay attention to reviews to see if, you know, like people liked it, because it got to that point when I got my first job, at 18, you know, when I was spending my own money.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
Then it became a thing, you know, like where you were saying, okay, am I going to go watch this at the theater, or am I going to wait till this come out on VHS?
Was it being around the crowd of people that you were with, listening to them talk about stuff, or was it like you actually like started paying attention to like the media side
like
of it?
the media side came way later.
Way later.
My reviews at that time were more so like word of mouth. So like how we were discussing Trap, you know, like it's one of those things like where I'm kind of actually going back to that format now, because it's like there's so much content out there, you know, so many things, so many shows, so many movies. I'm kind of been going back to that like word of mouth of you have to watch, you know, this show, because there's so much that I feel I'm at that point now where I don't want to waste my time, you know, on something that's not going to give me what I want out of a show or movie, you know. Even if the trailer looks good, there's some movies that I've seen where I'm like, that one let me down. It's just one of those things right now where I'm at.
My wife still holds it against me that I thought Fantastic Four, the 2015 or whatever reboot, was going to be like, okay. It's like, it could be fun. And it turned out to be one of the most terrible movies ever.
I'm glad you brought up time, because I was going to expand on that too. Like you brought up how, you know, in your 20s, early 20s, you might have to start spending your own money. And money is certainly an aspect when it comes to like, how do I want to approach, or which movie I want to watch or whatever. But time also, especially again in your early 20s, when it's like you can be going to a bar, you can be going out, you can be like, don't want to spend my Friday night watching this movie. Like let's see what it is. But along the same lines, to answer your question, also like I think actual media reviews. I think I was looking at some stuff pretty early, but for the most part, it was word of mouth. It was, you got to check this out. And then, growing up, you know, there was also back then physical media. So it'd be like your friend would show up with like a DVD or something and be like, you have to watch this and hand it to you.
That was
the
me.
good old days.
Yeah, when you had to like communicate.
Like I was kind of peripherally aware of movie reviews, because every once in a while, like on a Sunday, I would see Siskel and Ebert's
Yeah.
review show, and I'd be like, oh, these people are getting paid to talk about movies. That's kind of cool. And I would watch one every once in a while, but back then, growing up, it was pure hype. Like, it was like, ooh, trailer, ooh, media blitz. And the media blitzes were pretty much all you had to go on back then. Mm-hmm. And then, does anyone know when Rotten Tomatoes first launched?
No.
Because when I looked it up, I'm like, holy shit.
Should we take it? Should we do a guess game right now? Guess game right now. Whoever's
2001.
No.
2008.
No.
Was it? I'm gonna say like 98.
Ding, ding, ding.
No,
Really?
1998,
fuck?
26 years
I have a
ago.
thing that you just told him.
Wow.
You can see it in my eyes.
98?
Because I was gonna ask you, was
August
was in
12th,
the
1998.
Yeah, I
26
guess
years
the
ago.
internet- So we
Like,
were in high school.
It's been
Yeah.
a thing since that long. And I really, when I thought about it, like, I could only remember overhearing it like maybe the last 10 being aware of it. But
Interesting.
it's been around longer than that.
They took all 2 other websites' reviews and then averaged them out.
For me,
No, but I guess by 98 there was probably a lot of websites that were doing reviews. IGN and stuff was probably maybe I don't know.
around the time that I got my first paycheck and was, buying movies myself before, AMC, A-lister, stub thing, subscriptions or Movie Pass or anything like that. I wasn't paying attention to any kind of Siskel and Ebert. I know the internet was around, but there wasn't really anybody out there that I was interested. Nobody that had my same interest. And then there was a YouTube channel, this Schmoes Know Movies, and those guys, like, the movies they liked were the movies I liked, and the movies they liked to talk about were, so on and so forth. And I was like, those are my guys. Like, do you have anything in history where you go, those are my people? Like, yes, it's word of mouth, but going back to our trap discussion, where you're like, yeah, I said a thing, but fuck me. But then your friend's like, hey, you'll like this, and you're like, oh, I guess I'll listen to him. And then it was this like not so great movie. So, is there people in your life where you ignore them or pay attention to them more?
Yes, I have that in my circle because it's a group of us that we kind of talk about like the same movies, like those old school kung fu movies. We grew up watching that stuff, and then like, of course, reading like the same comics. Certain heroes that we liked. From Spawn to Spider-Man, to Superman or whatever. But you have those discussions because there's people that's in your core group that when you became friends with those people, you started talking about like the first Ninja Turtles, those type of things. So you're like, okay, this person's flavor, of media that they like, that is the same seasoning that I have. So I'm gonna rock with this person when they tell me to watch something, because they have introduced me to certain things that I didn't know existed. Like there's a particular movie called Storm Riders. I didn't even know what it was about. Like, it's an old school kung fu flick, but a little bit like more modern style. But it's just one of those things, because of my circle of friends that I had, I got introduced to like a lot of things. Like, even like the Ninja Scroll movie. There was a kid that a fellow artist that I knew when I was in high school, my senior year. He was describing this movie to me called Ninja Scroll. Just my type of imagination that I had, I was like, he blew my mind. Mm-hmm. So I randomly went to the Block, and I went to Tower Records at the time. Yeah, Tower Records.
Hell yeah!
I gotta think a demographic.
We'll wheel your Walker in here in a minute.
And I walked by like the DVD section, like their little, anime section that they used to have. And I just so happened to like catch it off the side of my eye. I was like, Ninja Scroll. I was like, this is what my friend Glenn was telling me about. And
shout out Glenn.
And I grabbed it, and I was like it was expensive at the time. You know what I'm saying?
All the anime titles hurt back then.
Yeah, like it was at Tower Records. So it's one of those things. I'm like, man, he told me this thing is good, so I bought it, and I was like, oh my goodness, I am so glad because it's one of those things. Because I trusted who he was, that he wasn't going to steer me in the wrong direction. So I bought it, and I still have that DVD to this day. Like, I love that movie.
Ninja Scrolls, what we watched.
Yeah.
In the theater.
Oh yeah. So to answer your question more, I don't know if I ever had friends that I like. I mean, generally all my friends we all like kind of the similar things, but I don't know if I ever had any that I really like. Oh, okay, I'm going to take his suggestion better. But I think I was aware of what my friends liked, and so if I got a suggestion from someone, I would kind of be like, okay, it's probably this kind of movie, or he likes this kind of movie, like. And I generally have always been pretty open to like whatever, like if it's a good movie, I'll watch it. I never really. I mean, I'm generally nerd and I love all the nerd stuff, but you know, if someone suggested something, I'm like in my head, know full well, it's like, oh, it's probably like a rom-com. But if they said it was good, like I'd probably still like go watch it or whatever, you know. But
oh man, it wasn't until like Jermaine was talking about, it wasn't until I got around him and like his group of friends, first from Disneyland and then from, you know, his childhood friends such as Doug and all the other people, that I had watched movies before, and I had like a bunch of, you know, I had my stable of movies. I'm like, wow, I really like these movies, but never really had anyone to like talk to about it. And then when I got around you guys and started like, oh, you like this movie? Oh, I like that movie. Oh, you like this movie? Then you would like this one, that. And then having that group to go to movies with, where we would watch the movie and then we'd stand outside the AMC smoking and just like break the whole movie down while we're standing out there for like half an hour to an hour.
Cool.
Like those were the days. Like that was cool. Like that was what really got me into a broad, like just like with Stormriders, like a broader appreciation of movies, more movies, and just deepen my nerd. Like, oh, this is wonderful. Thank you guys for leading me to all this.
yeah,
You've watered the plant.
Yeah.
What was the movie that you guys drooled over each other?
oh yeah, your first
Rain of Fire.
Rain of Fire.
Rain of Fire.
yeah.
Random
What's-
party. Just
what's the
started talking about
what's
Rain
the
of
phrase?
Fire.
Cute meat.
Yeah.
Highly recommend.
I don't know.
But
We told the story before, but like we traveled in the same group, but didn't really talk to each other. And then like at that point when we started talking about it, we became like instant
They saw glimpses of their matching Rain of Fire tattoos.
touch tips, and it was all
Yeah.
it was over.
Rudy just grabbed
That
them
was
and
jealous
flipped them
of me.
around, and
Threw him over my shoulder, like and walked out. The officer and gentleman style.
so again, not to go too much in the back in my day stuff, and this is, I guess, it's not really related to reviews, but whatever. We're gonna talk about it.
Yeah, it's a conversation.
You know, you brought up the idea of like having find the DVD, find the anime. It's one of those things. Like I'm torn between like if I miss that idea of like the quest of like you got to watch this movie and then you got to go find it somewhere, versus like the other night when we watched that one samurai movie that had the huge fight scene. And then immediately after, I'm like, oh, you haven't seen the Raid? And then I was able to just click some buttons and buy the Raid on Amazon and we could watch it.
You still had to search it on Amazon. I mean, there's
Yeah,
a little,
I know.
search.
So it's like in moments like that, like it's awesome that we can just pull up a movie on demand. But then I don't know, part of me is still just like, it's so cool to have to like go look for something.
I'm going to go there. Who misses those Friday nights to go to Blockbuster or Hollywood Video? It's the fucking best. You're in a movie or two and a video game.
Yeah. And then going back to your idea of like taking suggestions from people, like sometimes the people that worked there like had like they even had a section of like customer or employee suggestions,
picks.
employee
Yeah.
picks. Thank you. Thank good Lord.
Speaking of which, some of those cinephiles that worked at video stores were like Quentin Tarantino. Happy birthday. 62nd birthday. Yeah. Looped it in.
I have to call him later.
Yeah.
Give his number.
Be sure to tag him in this so he'll watch it and be like, oh, thanks guys.
Because they're all fucking stupid. Okay.
You want to see my size 15 feet?
Let's talk.
Oh, shit, he's here.
Happy birthday to me. Pour soju down them.
Surprise guest.
I would fucking throw up and shit.
Throw up
We
and
have to have
shit.
his
Throw up and
camera.
shit as like throw up and like other things, or throw up and shit.
It's a great question, man.
Yes.
I haven't figured it out by now.
We'll dig into that later.
That's funny.
But
Habitat
you know, going in like the history, I didn't look up any kind of history of reviews, but that is the funny part is like ever since art has been, there have also been critics because even though now, and I, you know, we go like, well, nowadays there's this plethora of things. It's like, but still people had lives back then and still didn't want to waste time to go walk to the theater or to go do a thing, to go see a thing, and still wanted to see if it was good or not.
Yeah, I think the difference as far as like mainstream critics was back in the day, they weren't necessarily in competition with each other because back in the day we had a thing as like time slots. So I don't know if Siskel and Ebert were head to head with another review
Or even like, you know, articles.
Yeah,
When do you think the first reviewer was? Do we have that there?
probably someone like back in the Roman days drawing a dick on the wall. I've been to the Colosseum. There's dicks on the wall. It's amazing, historic dicks.
We're learning stuff here. It's great.
But now, unfortunately, you know, movie critics and podcasts, such as our own, are in constant competition with everyone at all times at any given moment. So I feel like, you know, we've talked about like rage bait and just content drive. And so I feel, I mean, it makes me wonder how many quote unquote professional reviews are genuine reviews versus just, I'm going to say something that's going to get me the clicks, give me the content, give me the interaction.
That being said, as it sounds really gross to say, but like as a movie reviewer, someone who just happens to have a phone and access to the internet, where I come from too, like, yeah, I would love the follows and the clicks and the traffic and stuff, but like, I won't break my integrity.
Yeah.
You know, if the audience comes to you, you know, I never, like, there was one person that like accused me of rage baiting. It was Madam Web. It was legitimately a bad movie. Like rightfully deserved to get shit on.
I'll be the judge of that. We're having a debate for the next.
I'm down. I'm fucking down. Just haven't seen
Battle
it.
me, bro. Attack me, bro.
So I haven't seen like any of those Sony movies.
But like there are still people that I follow on YouTube and Instagram, social media, whatever, that I can tell that they're legitimate, and they'll have a hot take on a thing where it's not necessarily like, so, you know, I think nowadays with the abundance of you know, at home reviewers and shit like that, I think what's cool is you don't have a Siskel and Ebert forced down your throat. Now you can pick and choose a person that you connect with.
Yeah.
So I do find it kind of, I don't know, it's kind of off these days with reviews, because I'm the type of person, like, if I listen to somebody that does a, you know, particular review, I'm more so on those who have actually seen the movie, and I'm like a not necessarily a spoiler free, but if I've already seen the movie, there are some people that I go to that I want to hear their particular take on the movie, whether I like the movie or not. But it's those other ones that kind of like break down everything, like the trailer and everything that the movie hasn't even come out yet.
Oh, okay.
And those are the hard ones for me to like kind of like listen to, and
right.
And
it's a lot of speculation.
Yeah, because they just want to necessarily create content, or their whatever it is that they saw in the trailer or from a picture, and they, you know, do this big breakdown. I'm like, the movie hasn't even come out yet. Like, you haven't even seen anything yet. So I can't really listen to those type of reviews. It's only the reviews of the people who have seen it, whether it's spoiler free or it's a spoiler review.
Well, as far as the ones that are spoiler full, those are basically just digital, the conversations you were having outside the theater, but now in a digital form with a person you can click and watch.
Yeah.
So it's still that thing where, as Doug always says, like, be part of the conversation, keep the conversation. That's what that is. Yeah. I don't think so much. I mean, you could still, with those discussions, still kind of judge a movie and stuff, but that's where, like, as far as, you know, we're talking about movies now, but like, that's where, you know, not to over, you know, to up the word cinephile, because there are people that really know movies when they talk about it and break it down, where I'm like, I didn't even know that was a thing. Okay, you know, structures and blah blah blah. But you know, still being able to enjoy like the process of making the thing.
Yeah.
So there's the different audiences along with the different reviewers. Now, there's a reviewers that are like, there is a page called 2-word movie review, and it is either see it, skip it,
Nice.
or whatever it is. And you go, great, but then I kind of like hearing someone who's giving a little why it's good or why it's bad, a little nuance on it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like movies is a good example. Music's another one where sometimes it's like, look, at the end of the day, this stuff is supposed to entertain. And so like, let's not forget that when anyone's doing their reviews, it's like, okay, is it entertaining? Are you going to be entertained? And then all the technical aspect of it, I think is certainly worth review, but that's obviously not for everyone. Not everyone's going to care about that. The other aspect, in our realm of nerd shit is, I get turned off immediately when I hear someone reviewing something based off of what they thought someone should have done. Right. And especially, we talked about this with the Star Wars, the sequel trilogy. I'm not defending them, but that was, years of people like, episode 7 should be this, episode 8 should be that, episode 9 should be this. And it wasn't. And so like the reviews were instantly like just tainted because it wasn't what they spent 15 years
I gotcha.
rubbing themselves over.
I don't think anything that we would have got for those trilogies would have been acceptable to anyone or to everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
There would have been loud voices regardless.
And that's like, I think the fault of what you call it, the home reviewer, anyone with the internet access that's deciding to put their opinion out there is, they have to be in somewhat, I guess, trained professionally or gain the experience to like you always say, review the movie for what it is, not what you think it should be, or trying to compare it to something else. It's like, look at the movie of what it is and review it.
Yeah, like if you're like the example that I always use, like Doug is saying, like if you're like a food critic and they drop that plate in front of you, that's your music.
Yeah.
That's your movie. That's your show. You eat it, you digest what that is, and you're just reviewing that. It's not your
I wish it was this.
Yeah.
yeah,
was
like
a
your
pizza.
expectation, or whatever it is. Like you just was this great? Was this meh? Was it trash? You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I think, for my opinion, how certain reviews should be looked at and dissect. It's what's given to you, not what you thought, and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of times it's you gotta blame trailers for that too, because they'll like present the thing like this is what you're probably gonna get, and it's something else. But in the realm
Avengers with the Hulk fight in Wakanda.
that's actually a great point. But in that vein, it's I know we joked about it on the last episode, but you were like, yeah, but you told Rudy to watch Terrifier, and those are garbage movies. I'm like, totally. Like I know it's fast food, and I'm going into it in the discussion of it being fast food.
Fast food, no. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But knowing that he's not into that particular type of meal, that was the joke. Sorry about that, Rudy, but they're two of those movies.
Fine.
But
I'll never listen to him again. No.
but case in point, Douglas, is you're a person who likes some, not necessarily like artisanal, but like you'll be like, look at these like donuts and the craft of everything. But also you're like, dude, AM/PM hamburgers, goddamn
cheeseburgers, fuck yeah.
And for a while, I was like, I don't get it. I thought if you liked a higher end thing, you'll stay there. But as life is, it's two sides of one coin where you can enjoy.
Some people very much like to stay in the high class
For
things,
sure,
but
yeah.
for me, I will always be someone that
You're down here with those first floor people.
He's in the middle of the steps.
I think
He's not on the top. He's not on the floor.
Yeah.
He's right there.
Passed out.
He's reaching downstairs.
Yeah.
Hand me one of those delicious cheeseburgers, will you?
Well, no, I think it's to
Reaching down.
Jermaine's point. You got to take something for what it is. So, the analogy of food, right? It's like if someone takes you to a nice, classy restaurant, like, hell yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be delicious. But if you're in a rush or you're just hanging out at a dive bar and you end up at a 7-Eleven or AM/PM eating that food, and like, fuck yeah, it's delicious. It's great. It's good for what it is. Now, that said, to bring it like to the topic of this episode, I might tell someone like A&P and cheeseburgers are the best. I'm not going to fucking tell someone to go get it. Right? Like, now I want it in their head. So if they're ever at an A&PM and happen to be hungry, maybe they'll get it. Like, that's the point of me saying it. Like, it's not necessarily like you need to go out of your way to go get this. And I feel like that's where movie reviews have kind of, or movie suggestions have kind of evolved over the years. Because back in the day, we didn't have much control over how we could watch a show. Right? It was HBO or Cinemax had their little things going. You happen to turn to it, or TNT, or any of the other cable networks that were showing movies. Or, you had a theater in the area that would show old movies or whatever. So suggesting a movie back in the day was kind of very much like, hey, this movie's awesome. If you get a chance to rent it, if you get a chance, if it's on HBO, like, watch it. And there's nothing else. Like, you don't have a lot of other options. So a lot of times you would watch it. Now, it's like, oh, you should watch this. It's like, do I need to? Because there's a million other things I need to watch, right? It's so different. And, for a while I used to just, any movie I liked, I'd tell people, you need to watch this fucking movie. It's so good. But now in the past couple of years, especially doing this show, it's really made me realize, like, I got to be more mindful of like what movies I tell people or how I tell people to go watch something.
We had this small discussion off mic, when I was talking about, I had brought up my YHST list, the actual list of movies that I haven't seen, which consists of like 180 plus movies. And, you had brought up exactly that. Like, I don't know, if somebody needs to see this, but I think the context or the nuance is like, if you're a horror person, I'm pointing at myself, if you're a horror person, then enjoy this horror thing. I saw it and I enjoy it. If you're a cinephile, then I would suggest this thing. So like the suggestion would be in the context of what it'll do for you. Yeah. This is an absolutely fun background movie. Check it out, The Electric State.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I feel like just the way we watch stuff has changed so much over the years that those nuances of like, oh, you want, like, if someone would come to me with like, oh, what's something I should watch? It would totally be that like breakdown of like sit down and put your phone away and watch versus you just want something on while you do work or while you scroll through Instagram. Like, there's so many things, and there is an answer for all of those.
When I first started the movie reviews and first called them Forehead Films, I remember giving like an introduction to it, and I remember explaining it of like, here's how, because everyone has their own, tomato meter or whatever. And I've since kind of abandoned it, but at first it was whether you need to see it in theaters, whether you can stream it at home, whether you can just stream it on your phone or watch in the background or skip it altogether. Like, that was kind of my gauge, again, since abandoning it. In fact, ever since that conversation that we had a couple of weeks ago, I'm even thinking about, like, at the end of my reviews, completely abandoning the see it or skip it thing, as opposed to just going like, here's what we thought about it. Form your own, to Rachel's point, like, form your own opinion. Yeah. But here's just what we thought about it. Take it how you will. So there's those types of reviews where it's like, I'm going to tell you exactly what to do or not to do, or here's me just talking about it in a non-spoiler kind of way, whatever it is, and then leave the decision up to you.
I do remember when I was younger, there was a specific movie, Jurassic Park. So I
think I've heard of that.
So it's one of these movies like where you kind of, like, I learned at a young age that people who, consume media, entertainment, music, like, everybody has their own taste. Everybody is like a Galactus, like, they consume, but it's like what you're consuming. Like, I know when I watch a movie, I'm looking at things different from how Isaac watches the movie. I don't remember what it was we were talking about, but it was like some particular movie, but you were looking at something way different, and like how you analyze a movie compared to how I analyze the movie. But I remember my neighbor coming home, and after they saw the movie, they told my parents, they said, oh, this movie wouldn't be a movie for Jermaine. Like, I don't really think like he would like this movie. And at the time, I I don't remember what age I was, but I was like, do these people even know me like that? Like,
You were literally like, hey, listen here, motherfucker.
But, you know, back in the day, it was one of those things where movies actually stayed in the theater longer. So you had plenty of time to go, like, to go watch a movie if you eventually, you know, wanted to go watch it, or dare I say, wait for it to drop in those dollar theaters.
I was gonna say there was even the tiers of like there was the cheap theaters too you could wait for. Yeah.
Fucking.
But it was one of those things though too, like where I just remember them talking about it, but they were talking about it like they liked the movie, but they were just saying that I don't know if Jermaine would like this movie. And I was, you know, so
I feel like back then though, almost every adult said that about any movie that was scary.
Right.
Like that was their way of saying like it might be too scary for a kid, but it's like it's fucking dinosaurs and you're a young boy.
Yeah.
Every young boy wants to go see dinosaurs do shit.
Exactly. And that movie still holds up to this day. But anyways, when I finally saw the movie, which I think I eventually watched it on VHS, like I don't think I ended up watching in the theater. Hey. But I was like, what the hell was, you know, were they thinking? Because one, it was the first Jurassic Park, so that movie is phenomenal. But
impeccable.
It's just one of those things like where you kind of got to be mindful of kind of like who you're, you know, like who you're giving reviews to, you know, because you kind of got to know a little bit of what that person likes and what they don't like, because you never know, you know, what somebody may end up watching, because there's been plenty of movies that I've went to go see, you know, that got like a sort of a bad review, but I ended up liking it. Like it's not like it's the greatest movie of all time, but
it resonated with you.
Yeah, it was, you know, solid. But
God,
but
done.
But with the reviews, like I'm just saying, like you just kind of got to know, like your audience. But yes, tell your truth, but don't review something for somebody else. You know, to say like, oh, I don't really think.
Well,
this person.
To expand on that, and going back to the idea of the evolution of reviews for us personally, I feel like that's getting harder and harder these days because we do have these larger shared universes, right? Star Wars, Marvel being the big ones. DC had one. We're getting a new one. And I mean, I look at something like Star Wars, like Skeleton Crew and Andor, as Skeleton Crew would be like, to me, it's a fun show that is worth suggesting to people. But if they don't know Star Wars, they're not going to, like, it's not going to be the same thing. Or Andor is amazing. I tell everyone to watch Andor, but I know full well that if they're not Star Wars people, like in my head, I'm thinking it's like, oh, you could watch it. You don't need to know Star Wars, but it's like, no, like a lot of those moments don't hit as hard if you don't know Star Wars, like, or even Mandalorian. When that came out, I was telling people like, oh, watch Mandalorian. Like it's a great fun show. Like this little baby Yoda and everything. It's cute. But again, if you don't actually know Star Wars, a lot of that's not going to be as important or hit as hard. And so that in a way, it kind of sucks. And so again, like it makes reviewing and suggesting movies just so much different these days, because it's like, hey, you want, like they just announced the cast for Avengers Doomsday. Like go watch 32 movies and 6 shows and then you'll be able to like it. 33 movies and I don't know how many shows. Yeah, whatever. Like, and you'll be able to like the movie. And it's like, no, thank you. Like,
I know, right?
Which is cool for the people that are in it, and that's fine. I'm not ratting on it. I'm just saying like it definitely makes suggesting movies.
Can I interject about the Doomsday thing?
Sure, go ahead.
33 MCU movies plus X-Men.
Oh yeah, plus the Fox, old Fox stuff, possibly old Sony stuff. Yeah,
sorry. Continue.
Which is cool. I mean, it's all awesome, and I mean at this point, I feel like everyone should be somewhat familiar. Though they're not. I think I showed my friends like the poster of. Or the someone photoshopped a poster of like all the people that they're like, who are these people? It's like, I don't know. No one's gonna know.
It's fine. We can leave those people behind. That's not who
this
universe
absolutely.
is for anymore.
But I can't tell my father-in-law to go watch it.
And that's fine. Maybe he won't enjoy it. Maybe he wouldn't enjoy it, and that's fine. Everything is not for everyone.
It's all visual because he doesn't speak English.
Well,
either,
and
so.
Like we need to let shit go. Like this is for this audience over here, and let them have it, and instead of trying to make it appeal to the most people as possible and just watering the shit down.
oh, that's huge. That's such a big part of all of this.
Yeah.
Is the movies are costing so much, video games are costing so much, shows are costing so much that they're trying to make it for everybody, and it's just killing it all.
Except for Godzilla -1.
Hell yeah.
That's right.
$12 million budget.
For the children. I want to circle back to a point Isaac made earlier when he was talking about his reviews, where you're thinking about just getting rid of your see it, skip it thing altogether. You're one of the few, because almost everyone that I run across who has an opinion on a movie thinks their opinion is the opinion.
Bible. Yeah.
Like they're no, don't see this movie. You're actively stupid if you go see this movie. If you put that money, and that's the point where I've gotten to with
put me out of my misery if I get to that level.
With social media reviews, is that like it used to be like, oh, people are bad about this movie, or certain people are bad about this movie. Maybe I'll wait to see it, or won't see it at all. And I'd catch myself actively like avoiding something, like like when the John Wick hotel movie, The Continental.
Oh yeah.
The series, when that series came out and people immediately dumped on it, like I was excited for that show.
Yeah.
Same
But
here.
when it came out, just push it off to the side.
Yeah, because there's so much shit.
Yeah, and I'm just like, no, maybe I should give it a chance. And then I watched it and I'm like, okay, so most of them are right. but you don't form your own opinion. You don't know what's happening, and the people are so damn sure of themselves these days, and it's so wrapped up in like their own personal feelings on things. Like it's not objective. It's not objective as it needs to be to be recommending movies, and that's a wall I'm running into lately.
Yeah. So I feel. Well, let me add a little bit to that. Like, it's one of those things, like, if I can have a conversation with somebody, where we see the same movie, same show, but they didn't like it, but I liked it, or vice versa. If I can have a conversation, with somebody, rather than somebody having, like that, like what you said, like that Bible kind of like mindset, like this is the, how it is and how it goes. Those are the type of people that I like talking about movies, reviews and things, because we kind of digest it, but I see how from their standpoint why they liked or disliked the movie.
Totally.
And you can have that type of conversation, but there's a lot more people out there that you really can't have that type of conversation with, because it's like, oh no, that movie was trash regardless of what you said.
So to play devil's douchebag here, I used to
Flaming hot Cheetos douche.
I pictured it.
I used to really be on that same board about like these assholes with their like my opinion is everything, and they're still assholes. They really are. And to you, I appreciate the idea of like skipping that whole idea. I feel like a good review should just end with like, this is what you'll get out of the movie, and then let someone film it. Anyway, after Electric State, after we watched that and reading some of those reviews, specifically the one that started our whole the whole thing was this movie is so bad it harms movies in general,
Which is what caused us to watch it and talk about it.
Yeah,
You got us, goddammit.
Not me. That was homework.
I am beginning to understand maybe why some people are getting so upset and very much like, you're an idiot if you go see this. I don't want to be called an idiot, and I don't think anyone should be called an idiot for wanting to go see something. But at the same time, like, maybe it is important to like kind of give Hollywood that nudge of just like, this isn't acceptable. Right? Like, making these movies for everybody instead of making the movies for the specific audiences, that's not acceptable. And we, as maybe we've just grown to like, I think it's been such a slow, gradual change that we've maybe all kind of grown to accept these like Frankenstein movies of a little bit of everything that like, you know, if we had watched one of these movies like back in the day, we would have been like, oh, this is trash. But now because we've had this slow trickle, we're like, oh, yeah, this is good. I mean, like
Amongst all the other Frankenstein garbage.
yeah. And then of course there's the whole idea of like art versus content, which I feel like more and more movies are just making content instead of making art. And like we talked about it with the Avengers reveal yesterday. They were revealing the cast of all the new Avengers and like reading the comments, and people were just like, oh
My God.
oh, we're gonna see the Avengers, X-Men, and Fantastic Four. Like that's pure cinema. That's pure cinema. It's like, no, that's fucking content.
kept seeing
That's
that too,
bullshit.
yeah.
Like the stuff that people want, like they just want the checklist. And we've talked about that with Star Wars too, where they just want a fancy lightsaber scene or something like that. They just want these
Right.
clips. And again, maybe that's the evolution of just how we intake media and the different generations. The TikTok generation only wants 5 seconds of entertainment at a time or whatever. Like it's all changing. It's all shitty. But I feel like there should be an effort to like, and I mean, the only way that Hollywood's going to listen to anybody is spending habits and viewing. But
And in that particular vein, when I had Rachel and Rudy on, we talked The Electric State and Snow White, both multi-$100 million movies. Electric State was $320 million, and Snow White was like 200 and something million. And I remember saying that I'm happy that they didn't succeed, because if it did and you got back millions and millions of dollars, you could look up the box office on any of those movies on Snow White. That if it did succeed, then it would have been like Venom, where because it made $1 billion, then we got to pump out 2 other ones that were so absolutely mid, right? So in that vein of like, we got to stop putting money into that. And I'm so glad these failed, so that they're like, oh, I guess this didn't work, this whole Frankenstein thing. And to have followed that by Godzilla -1, which was such a small budget, yet was a beautiful movie of a well-known thing. Like, oh, storytelling, good cinema and good storytelling actually exists, where you don't have to, just put so much money and effort into it and try to. The main thing is like to try to please absolutely everyone, or as Rudy had said, make it a big McDonald's fucking cheeseburger.
was Snow White sidetrack? Was Snow White actually like bad? Like if you were a little child going to see the movie, would you like be engrossed by the magic of it all?
Rudy?
I don't think it would hold a small child's attention.
Oh, okay.
Like it did seem like it was aiming a little higher, and suffers for that.
When was the last time you guys watched the animated movie?
Oh, it's been many moons.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think the original animated movie would hold a child's attention?
That's a good point. Damn it. I don't know. I'll have to test it out with my nieces.
I think maybe because it's animated, they would give it more attention because that's what they're used to. I don't know about story-wise, though. Like, I think with the dwarves being, the iconic characters that they are, maybe.
So I will add to that. I will say Disney movie wise, animated wise, Snow White wasn't one of those movies when I was younger that I gravitated to. Like, I think I've only seen that movie in bits and pieces. Like, I've never really sat there and like watched the whole thing. Like, it's never been one of those movies. Like, I know it's considered like a Disney classic, but for me and my younger self, like that was never a movie, where I was just let me pop in.
Yeah, no, it's the OG princess movie.
Yeah.
I only watched it a bunch of times because my cousin, my younger cousin girl, would watch it over and over and over. So it's like embedded in my brain.
Well, so that was kind of my point is, going again back to topic of the evolutionary reviews. Right now, we live in a time with so much reboots and nostalgia and something like that, again, like reviewing something for what it is, all these Disney live action remakes, I think a lot of adults, Disney adults, whatever you want to call them, 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds are going in and reviewing them as like, this is a movie for us, but it's like, no, it's a movie for kids. And then sometimes maybe even the source material isn't really as good as you remember it. Like everyone talks about Snow White being a Disney classic and Snow White was so good. I couldn't tell you the last time I watched Snow White. I don't know if I ever even watched it all, but I found myself before saying like, Snow White, it's a classic. Like, cause we're kind of trained to say these things. And then so when they announced the live action remake and people were already shitting on it, I know there's like politics and stuff involved in the shitting on it, but I was instantly kind of just like, I don't know if people are really interested in that story to begin with. And so like I wasn't surprised that it got bad reviews, and I'm sure there's actually some technical badness to the movie, but I think it's like I don't like that's not a story that really holds up. That's not a story that people want to hear these days. And
Which is kind of true, because that was one thing we picked apart where we started to break down, poke the holes in actual the fantasy stories, all those grim tales. You go, wow, when you bring it to live action in the realm of reality, it's just it is kind of silly. Leave it in the cartoon form where everything can exist in fantasy land.
there's that new anime, Grim. There's something Grim Revelations or whatever. There's an anime where they take a lot of the Grimm stories. I've been wanting to check it out.
Doug, to your earlier point about how some people just want the fancy lightsaber fight and all the special effects. I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that, as long as you still get the content around it to kind of support everything. And I think that, like to your point, like it's the fact that they're just focusing on that to the exclusion of everything else is what's kind of leading to like a downward trend of like just good stories. But like I still want that flashy lightsaber fight. Like don't move away, Hollywood. Don't move away from that shit. Like to keep that shit in there, but like you need to step up your game everywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, like I think I've quoted Chris Pine on this a few times. Chris Pine recently had said like about Star Trek, where it's like at the end of the day, Star Trek needs to be for Star Trek fans. Which if that means you have a few less explosions and spend that money on actual storytelling and cast and set pieces or whatever, then do that. And I guess that would be my argument is like those flashy lightsaber scenes, they're freaking awesome. But if it's at the sacrifice of everything else, no.
So what Doug's saying, if I may translate for you, is that you do want Quentin Tarantino to direct a Star Trek movie. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely.
Can we see that on record here?
I mean, I've talked about it with Star Wars, where like I'm such a big fan of like take these worlds and go into different genres with it, do different stories with them.
Which I wanted to bring up and credit to you. You said it before.
Rudy's got his hand
Hold
up.
on, real quick before we move on.
Yes, Rudy, go ahead.
Have you seen it's a headline that I read? Jonathan Frakes talking about the new Starfleet Academy.
I've seen the headline. I haven't clicked on it.
Me
There's
neither,
a part of
but-
me that wants to be surprised by whatever it is.
But I saw the headline. No, I'm going to spoil it for you right now.
Thank
He just says,
Asshole.
just the headline. I haven't read the story either. I just saw the headline. The headline says that the new Starfleet Academy series is going to be purely for Star Trek diehard fans. Like it's not.
Nice. I dig it.
Hell
It's
yeah.
not one of those things where you can just be like, oh, the Star Trek thing. What is Star Trek?
That's
and be
really
entertained.
surprising because I thought that they would want to bring Starfleet Academy as the like CW show of Star Trek.
God, I
Because
hope not.
like I know that was my fear.
As good as
Wrong with
as,
CW shows.
as good as some of those can be, like no, like the Star Trek doesn't belong in that
Because
category.
it's the
Maybe if it was
Academy's-
like the 100 CW.
Oh yeah.
Then
Yeah, I mean, yeah, not to shit on CW shows, but I mean, like, it's
totally
the
fine.
idea. It's the
Feel
idea
you,
of
feel
like teenagers or like college kids, like in an academy. Like in my head, like
watch
they were going to
CW,
try to do that.
Like a YA.
yeah, the
type
YA
thing.
crowd.
Yeah.
But that's cool if they're going to go hardcore Star Trek.
I didn't want to spin off of it too much, but I did want to give you credit. You brought it up before, and it's worth mentioning now that as far as like a Star Trek or Star Wars, that these subsequent movies have been inspired by like the previous Star Wars stuff, as opposed to what the first trilogy did, which was pull from all of these other things, all these other mediums, and mashed into this thing. If that made any sense.
Yeah, why'd you bring that up?
No, like I said, I didn't want to spiral and go. It was like a bit of a sidebar, but worth mentioning since we were kind of going down that thing.
For sure.
Cut it out. Cut it. Cut it.
Cut it out. Since we're being old men here.
So where do
Look
you
at it gray.
where do you guys find yourself landing on reviews lately? Are you still going to social media and kind of trusting everything, or are you like Jermaine keeping it to a group of people that you've watched movies with and kind of trust their opinions?
It is. Yes, it's the group of people always. Trust the people, trust the culture. So because I grew up with, the culture that likes those type of things. So now when I'm in that area where, I kind of watched a little bit of everything that I wanted to watch, but there's so much stuff out there that I'm like, what's next? I kind of know what type of movies I like, but I kind of do like a little bit of research now, Yeah, you do the reviews and things like that, but it's like you find from anywhere, from Reddit, to YouTube, but like those people who kind of understand certain things, but anything that's on my list, like if it has, like rave reviews, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to this one next because, people are saying that that's like a cult classic, that it has definitely high reviews. So I feel in my gut that if I choose this, I'm not going to waste my time on it.
Right.
So that's kind of where I'm at now. Like I'm scouring in a sense, like the cultural, like, cinephile, like media of just people that kind of like certain things that I like, but are giving it, like those great reviews and things like that. So that's where I'm at.
How do you see yourself receiving people's reviews? How do you go about it?
For movies, sometimes I'll glance at them. For video games, I usually will check out reviews before I buy a game. And that's just because video games are a lot different because, you're actually playing them. So a lot of times if it doesn't feel good, and I'll look for that specifically in a review. Like if the controls feel janky, I'm like, all right, I don't want to waste my time. Because, now again, as far as evolution goes, back in the day, a lot of the games were single player. You played them until you finished and then you were done. You moved on to the next one. Now there's a lot of games that exist that are, games that you're going to play for the rest of your life. And so it's hard to break away from those. Something like WoW's life. And threw it in there for you guys.
Stand for
Bazinga.
So it's, like, oh, this game sounds interesting. Oh, it's getting bad reviews because of certain things. Like, all right, I won't play it. Movie wise, I'm one of these people, like, I'll watch a movie and people are like, well, why'd you pick that movie? It's like, I don't know. I read the synopsis. Like, South by Southwest just happened, and apparently there's a horror movie going around that's through the perspective of a dog. I don't give a shit what people say about it. I'm going to watch that movie. Apparently it's doing really, really well. I hope it gets distribution.
I love those
wanna
out there
that.
uniques. Yeah.
Yeah, and even restaurants, sometimes I'll pick a restaurant and someone will be like, "Why'd you pick this place?" I don't know. I saw a thing, like one thing, but especially within the culture, especially within the nerd stuff, if it's something that catches my interest, I'll go watch it. I probably don't give a shit. I also live in a world where time flies, and I think I'm going to watch that, and like I blink and it's no longer in theaters, and I have to find it on streaming because everything disappears so quickly. It's the stuff outside of the nerd culture, the Oscar winning movies that usually it's a good review or people talking about enough that makes me like, oh, okay. Like, I talk about The Holdovers a lot. Totally not nerdy shit. Great movie. Amazing movie. But it would be one of those that I probably would never have like checked out if the reviews weren't so good and I didn't hear people talking about it so much. Does that answer your question?
It does. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Ooh, Isaac, can I pose that question to you a different way?
Okay.
Do you ever find yourself looking at something and going, I need to find this particular person's opinion on this before I check it out? Or has anyone came up to you and be like, oh, Isaac might have an opinion about this. Let me get his before I jump into it.
Both of those things. So, because my wife and I don't have any kids, she's my wife I do the podcast with. There are times where schedule's completely open and we will easily watch 2 or 3 movies a week. So in a month, we can consume all the movies that are out. So it's never like, which one to go see it? So we'll mostly just see whatever the fuck is out. But when things are a little bit more tight schedule-wise, then I am sort of keeping an eye on how other people are talking about a thing. I do have a select few other reviewers. And then as far as like how much of their word I take to heart, I will then take a glance at the comment section and see who's just an idiot and who's actually like, you know what? They're talking, they might speak how I speak. Yeah. And then as far as like seeing a movie that I maybe wasn't going to see, where somebody will come up to me, like literally in person, or because I'm very famous out and about, or in the DMs or something like that, and going like, "Hey, are you gonna watch this one?" I go, "You know, I actually wasn't, but now that you're interested in whether or not to go see it, I'll see it for you and give my take on it." So it's a little bit of both of those things. But after, what's so fun is because I've been doing it for like a year and a half, and I still very much an amateur, although, I kind of gone down the lane of like the Schmoes No Movie podcast, where they're just regular dudes that happen to like movies. I'm never this, you know, we've fashioned my podcast off of the Cinephiles podcast, and these are like theater, you know, level nerds. They teach classes and stuff like that, and they're breaking things down in these really intricate ways. Like, I'm not at that level. I'm just at this regular schmo idiot guy who can barely string together some fucking words to form a sentence. You listen to the show, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Been on the show, I know.
It's all in the edit. But I lost my train of thought. Fuck.
No, it was a very well reasoned answer to what I put to you.
Thank you. I forgot what it was. There had more to that. The energy thing kicked to my head.
Well, if you come back to it, because I want to,
Yeah.
I want to give my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely in Jermaine's camp on that. Where like I found my niche, I found my circle, and I kind of stick to that. And every time I venture out, I'm always disappointed. I'm like, oh, that's your opinion on this? I kind of like that. Oh, we can't be friends.
Yeah.
You can't sit with us.
Has there been anything that we all were just like, one of us liked it a lot? Or I guess the Terrifier movies would be for
I haven't
me.
watched them yet.
I'm very you know what? Yeah. By this Halloween, I'm really curious.
Yeah. This Halloween, I'll watch them.
Yeah.
I do, you know, I used to like not shy away at all from gory bullshit, and like I still randomly watch some stuff like that. I just have to be in the mood for it now. A little bit more.
Yeah.
You gotta get turned on for that type of stuff.
When Terrifier 4 comes out, after you catch up with all the 1, 2, and 3, we will invite you. You'll be part of our 19 Mexicans in the fucking stands watching the fucking movie.
Does anybody?
I'll brush up on my Spanish. Hola, ¿cómo estás?
None of us speak Spanish.
Instead, yeah.
Does anybody have a specific thing that somebody recommended to you that you were like, holy shit, like that was a good recommendation based off of somebody's review?
It would have to be things that are actually on the YHST list. Excuse me. Just because I am already seeing everything that I can go out and see. So as far as like new movies and shit like that, no. But if it's, you know, you look at my list, yeah.
Oh, go ahead. No,
But if you look at my list, then, you know, like you guys are talking about this, I wrote down the Holdovers, which I'm pretty sure is on my list, but I want to make sure that it is because you've ranted and raved about it.
Yeah.
And basically, typically with my particular list, which is half the time it's other people's actual recommendations.
Yeah.
Equilibrium's on there, which I want to break that down with you. It's already movies that people have already enjoyed, you know. So I doubt that any of those movies on that list is going to be like a dud. I'll be really surprised and heartbroken.
that Trillions of Beavers movie that you made us all sit and watch.
Trillions.
That was that what it's called?
Thousands of hundreds
Hundreds
of
of
beavers.
beavers. The hundreds.
Amazing. That's a good, yeah.
That's like the most recent one I can think of. Like right now, off the top of my head, I was like, oh, like I knew it was going to be silly. I didn't expect to be like blown
Raid.
away by it.
The Raid.
Yeah.
That was mine. That's
Yeah,
it.
no, that-
Stop looking at me.
And Hundreds of Beavers is a great example
Amazing.
of what I was saying, where it was just like, I saw the thing pop up, I read what it was, I watched the trailer, I'm like, yep. Like, I didn't even look at reviews. You know, it was getting good reviews, but it's like, no, I'm going to go see it. And then I saw it, and I was like, this is amazing. I'm going to tell everyone else to go watch it.
And I know, and I
Sometimes, real quick,
Yeah.
sometimes that doesn't work, though, because Skinamarink looked amazing.
about to jump in on that one. Yeah.
And I
but
was-
that's what I was gonna say was like I when a concept just looks fun, and again, like we have the time, let's just go fucking see it, and it turns out to be a bad movie, I still enjoy watching a bad movie to then talk about why was it bad. Like we said a number of times, you gotta observe or take in or acknowledge the bad things in order to be like, this is why this thing is good. You hate this fucking line of thought, huh?
well, that,
No.
He's grinding his teeth over
I
there.
just can't. Like, it's just one of those things, like how we watched the Avenger,
Doomsday?
No, I was about to say Winter Soldier, but
The Captain America, Brave New World.
yeah, Brave New World, and how we watched like Electric State. Like, I had zero interest.
Right.
You know, but like no rush to go see it. You know, if I was like on a Friday night or something, like if I'm at the house and there's nothing else to watch, then I might have.
there was never nothing else to watch.
Nothing else you're
That's
interested
the
in
problem
watching.
we live in.
But it's
That
Because-
on a t-shirt. Absolutely.
because I have on every platform that I have, like I'm that type of person that I scour that stuff or I search stuff, and I have like my Netflix list.
Yeah.
I have my Amazon, like, movies and show, so I'll add that to that stuff, so if I'm going through, I'm like, no, I don't feel like watching that right now. I just have my list of things that are more important than that, but I would have eventually gotten to that, but no, there was no rush for me to go see that.
Along that line of rushes, though, there is, and I guess it's kind of related to reviews, is the spoiler thing with the internet. I mean, that's the one thing with, especially the Marvel movies and Star Wars and stuff like that, is there are times when it's like, I don't really need to go see it. And then you start going on Instagram and everything's getting spoiled right away. It's like, nope, I need to go see it before like the few surprises that are left are ruined for me.
Well, even I always shit on trailers because then the trailers will actually spoil shit for you.
Sometimes,
yeah, fucking trailers.
Real quick
I'll
though,
allow myself a
one more
teaser.
thing also for everyone listening and watching. If you're ever on a Friday night and wondering what to watch, you can't figure it out. Our new episodes drop every Friday morning, and it is a great little time to spend some hours while you figure out what else to watch. Yeah, and honestly, you could watch us while you scroll through the apps on your phone. So there you go.
Absolutely.
Professional. That was
Absolutely.
good. That's a place to end it right
Put
there.
us on in the background.
Put a button on that.
Yeah,
My
put us on the
God.
background, but watch the screen every once in a while because Rudy does amazing fun edits
Yes.
that even sometimes I miss, and I'll look up and be like, oh, clever.
You can play a drinking game of how many times I pick my nose throughout the show. I mean, there's things are there. And you can comment on those things and put a button on it on social media. Again, at The Hype Attack on Instagram and TikTok. We're now a lot more active, and thanks to Doug for putting out a lot of content. Not just for not content sake, but it's keeping you guys on top of everything going on in the
It's
nerd world.
engagement.
Engagement. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, please engage with me.
Yes, we want your comments. We want your feedback. We want to talk to you. We want you to talk to us. We want you to come over. Be a part of the family.
We want to hear your
inviting
reviews.
people
We
over.
want to hear your takes.
Yeah. I mean, there's a park nearby. We can maybe, if we want to invite people, they don't need to come over.
No, come over. We live in La Habra in a very nice apartment complex.
Thank you.
We will let you in.
Or in the digital apartment complex, also known as comment section, where people can continue.
Continue the conversation.
Thank
That was
you.
like, Hugh, look at that. Continue the conversation. Yes, so we are going to start posting by the time this episode comes out. Hopefully we're caught up. A reel to go along with each episode. We'll have some questions on there, and you can do your little thing and tell us something.
Jump on it.
Whatever you want. I don't even care if it is related. Just say something.
Any hype news? Anybody watching anything good?
Oh, shit. We didn't even get into that.
Oh, no, I'm just saying.
Rewind.
Because we're doing...
I just want to. I had a couple call outs real quick, but like
Yeah,
nothing,
you
I
can
don't.
throw out.
I don't want to jump in. April is heavy. Andor, Devil May Cry, The Last of Us season 2.
Ooh.
All of those premiere. Well, by the time you're watching this, it'll be this month,
Yeah.
the month of April.
Shit.
Like, absolutely looking forward to all of those, and I hope we can. I hope they're good enough that we can talk about it because I love talking about that stuff.
If they're not good enough, we're certainly going to be talking about it.
To add to that list, A24 has a new war movie. Warfare coming out in April. I'm
Fancy.
kind of disappointed that I'm not going to be able to watch that one right when it drops because we're going to be in Japan.
Oh, humble brags.
But
I love them.
No, but it's just one of those things like
Wait, all you guys go to Japan?
that-
I'm the first I'm hearing this.
that movie looks really good to
Show
me.
up to record.
A24 did Civil War, not the Captain America thing.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Yeah, that was-
their bigger budget movie. Sad to see that. I don't have any other things I'm hyped about. I talked about Snow
I
White.
had a bunch in my head and I completely forgot them.
So, okay,
Setting for the gram.
Yeah.
Yeah,
three
saving
things. Three things. Finished The Expanse.
Oh, lucky.
Haven't started it yet.
Loved it. But I will say Battlestar's ending was,
Best
because
ending.
people
Best
compare.
ending, best ending, best ending.
But Battlestar to me, it's like that.
Oh, tread carefully.
No. Battlestar to me, it's like one of those
Argue
things
in a minute.
where that ending was so brilliant. Like it's almost like
Okay.
like
forgiven.
Planet of the Apes, where it ended and it was revealed. Like you got the Statue of Liberty. Like it was brilliant. But because The Expanse has I believe nine books and they only went through 6 books. They continued the story with certain characters in comic format from what's that comic book company? Boom Studios. So now I got to go read that 12-issue miniseries to kind of get the rest of it, and then I'll probably give my final judgment. But for the show, I think it was solid. Like it's one of those, like, if you're into, you know, that type of sci-fi, you know, yes, watch it. Number 2,
Yeah, me a sci-fi.
Invincible.
Finished it?
Oh, I need it.
I finished it. I just love
strong
it
was that?
so much.
How strong was that?
Because I read kind of like half of the comics when it was in rotation. I love the world of Invincible. Like it's for me, it's everything that I want, like a superhero kind of like story. Like it just gives me everything. Like a lot of people look at, you know, Spider-Man, you know, they say, oh, he has it, you know, rough. Like he's that superhero that has it, you know, bad out of everybody. Mark, oh my God, he goes through the ringer.
So unique.
Yes, but it's violently delicious and painful.
About those last 2 episodes, huh?
And it has
Shut up.
and it has that
They
that
killed him. It fucking
that
sucks.
that
Not Invincible.
that like love, you know, kind of like rom-com stuff in there too, you know, like the, you know, people dealing with like relationship stuff in the background, but
People you wouldn't expect to, like, you know.
But when shit hits the fan, I'm gonna just say that's what I want. That's what I like.
Quick add on to that. Are we familiar with the gag for the Invincible title card? Like every time they say his name, it just flashes that.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the filter someone
Yes.
Yeah.
developed for that? It's like every time you say the word Invincible, it pops up that title card.
That's fun.
I was like, I have to find that later.
That's fun.
Looking for that in the edit.
But my number 3. So because I finished The Expanse, there's been another thing that's on my list that's on Netflix. It's called Dark.
Yeah, the German show
Yes, it's the German show. So now, I
fucks your brain.
I finally started season 1. I think I'm like halfway through. Like it's only 3 seasons, but it's been on my list, and I, you know, saw that it's been getting rave reviews from the time that it's, you know, been out. But it's one of those, if you like kind of like sci-fi twisted time travel stuff that just makes your brain just morph, and you really have to pay attention to it. Like it's just one of those shows, and I love every minute of it. The story, like the characters. There's episode 3, I believe. There's like a little parallel thing that's happening where you get to see them in their younger state, and then you're like, oh, this is who that was older.
Yeah.
So you're kind of getting
Mads
like
Mikkelsen is in it, too.
a feel for the story, but it's really good. But it's been on my list for like a long time. But it's one of
So
those
excited for you to watch that
because
the
it
rest of
has, you know, three seasons. I was like, do I want to get into this now? But I just finished The Expanse.
it proceeds to fuck your brain more and more each
Yeah,
season.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
great.
Yeah, like if you like those type of movies, like Tenet, what is it, like Shutter Island?
Yeah.
Predestination is one of my favorite mindfuck movies, but that was because I watched Predestination. A lot of people kind of said like, if you really love this movie, then you're gonna like Dark. So now I got to watch it or finish it. But that's my hype news.
Yeah. Thumb forehead up on that one.
I can't remember.
Cool.
Good. Everyone's good.
Yeah.
That's what we're fucking hyped about. Follow us on social media. If you're just listening, watch us on the YouTubes and stuff like that. We will catch you next week. Till then, same hype time.
Same hype channel.
Hype time.
Invincible.
Drink.
Drink.